Good afternoon. So another science updates, very short update. As I said before, so I want to, my aim is now, I prepared several mixtures according to the plan and placed them in storage. I still have I still have things to do, I mean, with regards to the paint. First of all the paint, but this is not urgent. It could be done like during, I mean, this week or even next week. It's really not that urgent. If I mean, it's not high priority, and I need to create like containers from clay, but this is not really a high priority, so it could be postponed. And I need to take some more microscopic samples, and I'll do it. This is actually something that I actually want to complete, and I'll do it after I clean those slides. And also, I mean, some people, some like, and I really appreciate it because I really like, I mean, like I really appreciate advice on the subject of science, as opposed to advice on probably any other topic. Not that I don't like advices, but I mean, your advices are always egoistic and like, I mean, you're all creeps and like scumbags. But science should be like rather like pretty much objective, even though, I mean, of course it isn't. And I mean, I know I'm a keen like student of philosophy and history and sociology of science, so it's not really objective, but yeah, it's more objective than the rest. So a keen eye and directed me to that to see to, I mean to the fact that I mean the Nutella slide that I actually like referred, like I browsed over it too quickly. Actually, it's quite interesting because there is a lot of like shiny material that actually doesn't look. I mean, there are all sorts of shiny materials that you can see. First of all, there are many, I mean, life forms like that. Actually, the neros like to create, like the worms that have, sometimes they have shiny body, but I mean, this is not natural. I mean, it's pseudo natural, and also the neros themselves shine. And actually, I must admit to my shame that even until now, I didn't really understand like the whole optics issue of like how you detect like a Nero by, I mean, how light shines through it using backlight microscopy. It's probably very simple, and many people already tried to explain it to me. But I mean, I lack motivation also, so my brain doesn't work in like the best capacity. So I mean, if someone can explain to me very simply, yet I know that you already did it many times, but one more time, or just refer me to a simple video, because it's interesting and it should be very simple. I don't know why I don't get it. Sometimes you don't get really simple like scientific stuff for some reason. I don't know why. Maybe because you have already had like a misconception that is too much like rooted in you. So I mean, the new information doesn't like take its place, even though it should be very simple. So they are also shiny, and there are also things that actually shine, but I mean, not everything. I mean, as they said, not everything that shines is actually gold, but maybe some people think that actually, I mean, the shiny material in the Nutella slide could be of metallic, like metal and maybe precious metal, not necessarily gold, but something precious. And so I will take more samples from the Nutella. I still have the container. I didn't throw it, and see, I mean, what I can make out of it. Of course, there is a question that I've already, I mean, several times I put it on the table. I mean, how do you know what is the material that's in front of you? I mean, supposedly you can do like the Eureka, the Archimedes style thing with the crowns, but because it's microscopic, or it's just like powder, and it's even more difficult because you don't have like reference objects. So it's an interesting question, how to do it with zero money. Maybe the answer is that it's impossible, and that, I mean, you can do everything with zero money. Maybe. So where are we? So I'm left with not very urgent things to actually and so we can actually start, I mean, the main event, which is the two main constructions. So one of the construction will be highly symbolic one. It will be a construction of the type of the courses, and I already know that actually I created like constructions, like symbolic construction with regards to the courses of the Earth long before actually I've ever seen like a Neo under the microscope. I'm doing it for 2 years now, and it's like, so it's always very creative, very, very artistic, and it's like it's ongoing work. So I've started with this magnet, and it will be, I mean, surrounded with I mean, the motif will be, of course, earthquakes that will destroy not only Israel but other places as well, and also, I mean, the invasion of like flying like insects or birds of like hybridic nature. And this will, I hope, will not only be symbolic, but we'll actually be able to see one. But I mean, as they say, עוד חזון למועד. I mean, we should see about it. But this is ongoing. This is not something that I'm like start and finish like in an hour or not even in a day. The symbolic like works of art, even if they have like very practical nature and like they use like scientific or engineering or technical like knowledge, it's still something that is it's, by nature it's ongoing. Like I mean, you add things and you revisit it. So I think mostly will be my emphasis now is another ring experiment, which is very important because I promised my daughters that the robots will prepare ring for them. But before that, so actually several people like I mean several of my audience, like subscribers or casual viewers, I mean actually asked me a question in various like versions of the same question that is actually, and I actually kind of like this question. You see, I mean I hear like I read your comments. So they said, I mean, what about the synthetic, like the neurons that you created, like in the titanium container, like in like any synthetic, like I mean, in like an express synthetic procedure. I mean, what about them? I mentioned them like yesterday in the video, the summary video, but. So as I said, yes, I mean, I'm still very interested in this course. We have already, I mean, had a lot of like advancement in it, and we should not abandon it. And I would like to say that this is not contradictory to the achievement that we had, and hopefully we're still going to have, with regard to how you create an ecology of neurons. Because electrolysis it speeds the neurons. It just gives them more energy so they can do everything faster, quicker. At least that's what I understand, like from my experience, that I mean they can do everything very slowly, or almost everything very, very slowly. And of course, the fact that it's so slow means that you cannot correct, I mean, yourself. So it's many times means that I mean you can't really, I mean, achieve whatever you want because it's so slow. Because I mean you don't have like the quick feedback of a fast work that is aided by electricity. But I mean, so yeah, I mean certainly we can I mean. Run the same experiment, or I mean, as the experiment that we've done, as this experiment of creating neurons with the symbolic language inside the Titanic container, but using, I mean, at least as part of the mixture, the liquid from the aquarium that it contains both a lot of neurons but also a lot of life forms, and presumably if the neurons grow and multiply by eating these life forms, whether they are biological or synthetic, and this is almost certain. I mean, I think that I mean it's not an if. I mean, we all it's an established fact. I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, what other explanation do you have that explains all the? I mean, the evidence. Yes, they grow and multiply. Maybe by is not the correct term, but I mean. The procedure of them growing and multiplying is aided by the fact that they eat, and the food, food that they really like is microbes, probably both synthetics and biological, or more proper terminology would be both carbon based and like silicon based and perhaps like other stuff as well. Like they are carnivores. They like to eat meat. I mean, and it can be like Beyond Meat or just regular old meat or whatever. I mean, so presumably this process could also be like amplified with electrolysis. It's not mutually exclusive. You just need to find presumably the correct voltage, and the correct setup of wires, and this is tricky as you've already seen many times. But I do want to actually make this experiment before the ring experiment. Because maybe, I mean, with some luck, we can actually create like a huge amount of like synthetic neurons that will help us in the process of the rings constructions. And another thing that I will want to test at the same time is the issue of pressure. I've spoken about it in the past. I've never actually created like a pressure cooker, even though I wanted to do it. There are all sorts of like practical limitations, but I do want to work with like higher pressure than usual. And I'll see how I can actually do it. Probably with kind of a chimney that will, I mean, that will be able to, to ventilate, the steam if it's too much. But I still need to think how I want to do it, and with what. It will not necessarily be with the same kind of container that I've used until now. Maybe another one which is also metallic. And also the lid is also important because the lid should be like yellow, as you know. It doesn't necessarily be, it could be metal as well if you just put a yellow cloth like that, like cloth, like below or something like that. But then do you need light? So there are all sorts of like practical question of light and like how do you put like to place the wires and the symbolic and the symbols and it's always like a kind of like a crafted art and science all together. How you place all the things that in a way that it actually the electrolysis chamber will actually be they will produce something that hopefully something that you want. But I think it's like, yes, before we run to another ring experiment, maybe a nice addition will be actually not only the aquarium juice, which is a nice addition indeed, but also perhaps we can actually create like a synthetic juice, which could also be very helpful. Some people ask me, what about the dioramas? Yes, so I need to put it under the microscope. It's some of the samples that I haven't like reviewed yet. I need to watch the slides. What's actually is interesting because it's the first time that I actually opened the large container, like the double with energy transfer container. So I've seen that the electrolysis was very, very harsh, and of course, also in addition to the fact that it was very like warm days in Israel, and so almost all the liquid is actually, is out of the container, and there was a lot of liquid, but we have a muddy swamp with also things that looks like worms and like big microbes, and it will be very interesting to watch this thing under the microscope. And also, this could actually be very beneficial. Maybe we don't even need to take it out. At least not all of it, because if it's indeed like a ton of like microbes, both synthetic and biological, and that's what it looks like. So it can be like a great like fertile ground for for the creation of the synthetic neros. So we might like not need to actually get this thing out, or at least just part of it. But as I said, it's adding the issue of pressure is like another complication, but it's something that I want to do. And again, not like very high pressure. I'm not like pressure cooker level. It's just more than the usual. I always work with only the normal pressure, 1 atmosphere. So maybe like upping it a notch could be helpful. Of course, temperature will also rise, so we need to think about that. And yeah, it's complicated, but I think it's worth pursuing this. Even just for the sake of like curiosity. And after that, we should continue with the ring experiments. And also, please rescue me from the Nazi prison. Me and my daughters. We need to be rescued using arms and legs. We do not need mouths and tongues at all.